If you have flakes, itchy or dry scalp that keeps coming back, you might think it is dandruff. But what if I told you that it might not be dandruff at all? In fact, one of the biggest mistakes I see in clinic is what I call misdiagnosed scalp scaling, where people treat the wrong scalp conditions for months and sometimes years and unknowingly make it worse. Today, I am going to show you how to tell the difference and what your scalp is actually trying to tell you. My name is Djanie and I am an advanced hair, scalp and skin practitioner, and in my clinic, this is one of the common issues I see. Patients come in and say, I have tried everything, every anti-dandruff shampoo, but nothing seems to be working. And the reason it isn't working is simple. They are treating dandruff, but they don't actually have dandruff. Let's start with something important. Not all flakes are dandruff. There are actually multiple scalp conditions that present with flaking. And one of the most commonly confused conditions is the one that I call excessive scalp scaling. Now you're probably thinking, flakes are flakes. Surely it's the same thing. But this is where most people go wrong. Dandruff is the non-inflammatory version of seborrheic dermatitis. And it is associated with increased sebum production, activity of malassezia, which is the yeast on the scalp, and accelerated cell turnover. Seborrheic dermatitis is the inflammatory version where you'll see redness and irritation. But other conditions like dry scalp, which is the scalp that has got a reduction in oil production, so it's also lost moisture. Psoriasis, which is also an inflammatory skin condition, but this form presents itself with thicker plaques. Then we have contact dermatitis, which is the irritation that occurs when you are in contact with products or irritants. All these conditions that I have listed here produce scaling. However, they all require completely different treatment approaches. But here is where it becomes a problem. If you treat a non-dandruff condition with anti-dandruff shampoos, for the long term, you can disrupt your scalp barrier. And this is something I see far too often. People are overusing antifungal shampoos thinking that they're helping their scalp, but actually they are increasing dryness, sensitivity, and irritation. So instead of improving, their symptoms are cycling. They get scaling, itching, they get some temporary relief, and then reoccurrence. And they don't realize that they are stuck in the treatment loop trap. At this point, you're probably wondering, how do I know what I actually have? So let's break it down simply. If your scalp is itchy with oily scaling and it's yellowish, the scales are also appearing yellowish, and these conditions fluctuate with stress or hormonal imbalance, that is more consistent with dandruff and seborrheic dermatitis. But if your scalp feels dry, tight, produces small white flakes, and worsens with harsh products, then you might be dealing with dry scalp conditions, not dandruff. But that's only one part of the picture, because sometimes the issue is not just topical. This means factors like diet, inflammation, stress levels, hormone imbalance, nutrition can all influence scalp conditions. For example, chronic stress can alter inflammatory pathways in the body that presents as irritation or exacerbate existing scalp conditions. Nutritional deficiencies, particularly in zinc, essential fatty acids and protein, can impair skin barrier functions, including the scalp. So if your scalp is not responding to treatment, we will have to look beyond the surface. This is the truth that most people don't hear. You cannot treat a scalp condition effectively if you have not identified it correctly. And you cannot resolve a scalp condition by solely relying on products alone. We assess medical history, lifestyle, nutrition, scalp condition, because the scalp does not function in isolation. Now, here's what I recommend instead. If you're dealing with persistent scaling or irritation, first, stop guessing and avoid switching between multiple treatments too quickly. You need to give yourself some time to see what is going on. Third, observe patterns. Does it worsen with certain products? Does stress influence it? Are there dietary factors involved? And most importantly, if it is persistent, seek professional assistance. Because once the condition is correctly identified, treatment becomes targeted and effective. But if there is one thing I want you to take away from this video, it is this. Not every scalp condition that flakes is dandruff. And treating the wrong condition can keep you in this cycle of irritation and recurrence. Your scalp is giving you information. You need to listen. The question is not which product should I use. The real question is, what is the underlying cause of this condition? Because once you understand that, everything changes.